next chapter we are going to discuss is chapter 3. This is the basic principles of pharmacology, things that you need to know about the scientific side of passing medications. Lots and lots of terms here, and you will really need to look at all the key terms and read through them so that you know what it means when you run across it in the textbook. So not a super long chapter, 12 pages. And then ATI pages that you are going to be able to find similar information, 3 to 5, 11 to 13, 35 to 39. We're going to be talking about keywords, different names of medications, types of drug actions, and then the 4 physiologic processes that are seen when somebody takes medications. So these are some terms that you need to know. Most of these are in the book. A couple of them might not be. I think pharmacognosy is discussed in a video that we watch, not necessarily in the book, but it would not be a bad idea to write that down. All right, so overview. Pharmacokinetics is what your body does to a drug. Whenever there's a medication taken, there is a multitude of action. Your body does things to the drug, and the drug does things to your body. So the best way to remember this is, remember when you are talking about the study of movement, the term for that is kinesis. Kinetics is the study of movement, mostly the body's movement. And so just think kinetic, body movement, how your body moves on the drug. On the other hand, pharmacodynamics is what the drug does to the body. And here you can think of dynamics, drug acting on the body. Pharmacotherapeutics is kind of a general term for using drugs in the treatment of disease, whatever type it is. Pharmacognosy is the study of drugs from natural sources, such as plants, and we have a lot of medications that were originally plants or parts of trees or leaves or fungus or all sorts of things found in nature. One example of this would be aspirin. Aspirin was invented from a chemical synthesized from the bark of various kinds of willow trees that contained natural salicylates, and was eventually developed into what we know today as aspirin. And then toxicology studies the ways that the drugs might be harmful to the body. It's sort of the study of poisons. And we've all heard that whenever there's a suspicious death, they usually will draw labs for toxicology to look what the person might have taken into their body or had administered into their body. Like I said, key terms used in this chapter, please make sure you are familiar with those. They are valuable, and you will see them over and over again, not just in this class, but all through your career. Let's start on page 23 talking about drug names. Every drug, every medication, and when we say medication, we specifically are referring to something that has been okayed by the FDA as a treatment that is both safe and effective. Drug is kind of an overall name for all sorts of things that you can take, but medication sort of has the FDA stamp of approval. The Food and Drug Administration has looked at the studies and has licensed it for use by whatever the population is for that particular drug. So only 2 names are really important for nurses, and we will use them all the time. And then the other 2 names, you know, if you're a scientist, if you're a pharmacist, you're going to use those all the time. But for nurses and really most healthcare providers, you need to know the generic and the trade names for drugs. Generic name covers the name given by the drug manufacturer. This is the company that ends up making the drug after it's been tested. Usually it is just a general name and it is not capitalized when it's written. And an example of this would be meperidine. Meperidine is a drug developed by a particular manufacturer. Now most doses of this drug, which was known by its trade name Demerol, is now just a generic meperidine, meaning it wasn't the original company that makes it, it was other companies that acquired the patent and were allowed to make it. The trade name usually has that little registered symbol by it, sometimes called the brand name, and it's registered to a specific drug maker. And an example is when meperidine was first developed by a particular drug maker, and it was called Demerol. That was its trade name. Nobody else can manufacture it under its trade name. When the patent and the recipe was allowed to be purchased by other drug companies, they have to call it by its generic name, meperidine. Now, the chemical name for a drug is usually one of the first names that it's going to be given. And the chemical name for Demerol or meperidine is shown on page 23. It's ethyl 1-methyl 4-phenyl isoniapectate hydrochloride. That's the chemical name for Demerol, and we are just really lucky that we don't have to come in a patient's room and say, I've got a shot for you for your pain. I'm going to give you some ethyl 1-methyl 4-phenyl isoniapectate hydrochloride. Is that all right? We just have to say, I've got your Demerol or I've got your meperidine. And usually we just say Demerol because that's the name people recognize. But unless we are working in a lab somewhere, as a chemist, we usually don't have to deal with their chemical name. And then every drug has an official name. This is the name that it is registered under with the FDA when the okay is given to test and eventually market this drug. And in this case, its official name is meperidine hydrochloride. So that's just an example of same drug, 4 different names given to it at different times in its research, development, and sale. And so, like I said, as nurses, we're just really going to have to mess with the trade and generic names, thankfully. Now, we have to look at the drug action. And if you look on page 24, you see figure 3.1 gives you one of the major drug actions, which is receptor action. We have receptor sites. Receptors are little protein structures, and they are found all over the body in every cell. Every cell of our body has different types of receptor sites. And it's a little protein structure where the molecule of a drug is recognized by that receptor, can fit, and then cause a particular reaction. Now, the analogy many times is used of a lock and a key. And you'll see at the top of page 24 on the left, you see a cell with the receptor, or you see the receptor on a cell. The drug comes along. Notice it fits perfectly. It fits into that little receptor slot, and then it can perform an action. This is a very common way that a drug works in the body, is by fitting a particular receptor just the way your car key fits your car. It's kind of the same thing. You have a car that has either a key, well, you know, I'm kind of dating myself now. Cars have those automatic start things. My car has an automatic start thing. I don't like it. I like a key. I like a key I can hold in my hand. But anyway, you go out, you have your particular key, It fits your particular lock, and when you turn it on all the way and press the gas, you can start your car. That's what a receptor site does. If I took my house key and tried to get it into my car key slot, it probably wouldn't even go in. And if it did go in, I couldn't turn the car on with it. And so that's how it works, with the key being the drug molecule and the receptor being the actual lock itself.